Hey everybody, this is just a little video on Cuba. Um, Everybody keeps asking me how Cuba was, and I'm working on doing my blogs, but it's going to take a little bit because there's so many pictures to go through, and I've been a little busy. So I just wanted to do this little video and give you a little information about my trip. So I went as part of a educational tour, like a people-to-people educational tour through authentic Cuba travel. And I was down there essentially 7 full days, and every day except for the very last day we had a very full itinerary where we would visit artists, check out architecture, explore Cuban food and music. We visited old Havana. We visited the big art university in Havana. We went out in the evenings to private restaurants and enjoyed live music, which was really great. I mean, I was seriously blown away by a lot of things, but especially by the music. In total, we spent 5 nights in Havana and 2 nights in Vanales. Like, I have no idea if I'm saying any of these words correctly, but the Vanales was in the countryside, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. Visited a lot of museums, and yeah, it was primarily art, architecture, music, and then a few random things. Like in the countryside, we visited a tobacco farm, which was a lot of fun. I tried my very first cigar on a tobacco farm in a tobacco farmer's tobacco hut barn thing, and he lit it for me himself. So, yeah, I never thought I would try one, but I was like, well, I'm in Cuba, so, this sounds like something that should be on my bucket list if I'm going to Cuba. And we visited this really cool cave that we walked into and then got on a boat, and they took us for a ride on this river that was in it. We went to a nightclub in the town of Vanales, a very rural thing, and watched some performances, but also some dancing. And wow, these people can dance. Like, it was unfreaking believable. I mean, there were these 2 couples that kept partner swapping, and they weren't even looking at each other when they were partner swapping. And they're salsa dancing, and they're doing all these twists and turns in between each other, and their feet are moving so fast, and it was just crazy. I really wanted to dance, but after seeing these people's moves, I was like, there's no way. There's no way I'm getting up there. We visited this little, it's like a river that we got to swim in, and it was just absolutely gorgeous out in the foresty area. We visited this eco community called Los Terrace, or I don't know, something along those lines. That's not quite right, but it was really cool. Just a lot of different things like that, and yeah, it was a really amazing experience overall. So much to take in. We did so much. I felt like we were there for 1 or 2 months. And it was an interesting experience because we were almost completely cut off from the outside world. We could get Wi-Fi sometimes. Like, you could buy internet cards from the hotels, which you can only use at the hotel, usually for just like an hour. But you were really lucky if they actually worked. Most of the time, by the time I would type a message I wanted to send, the internet connection would disconnect. And so the last 4 days of my trip, I was just like, I'm not even going to try because there was no point. We were essentially treated to the best of what they have to offer. And the best that they have to offer, it definitely does not meet our standards over here. I'm very happy with everything, but like, the embargo basically stopped their economy and just things stood still, and they're still working to get things up to modern standards. Like the first hotel we stayed in, the air conditioning didn't work. We ended up having to be transferred. Um, I spent my first night. It was so hot, so crazy hot in Cuba. I spent my first night in the hotel. I could not sleep. So I had washed some of my clothes in the tub, and I ended up taking my shirt and wrapping it around my neck and getting my water bottle out of the mini fridge and cuddling with it that night in order to cool off enough to sleep because it was just that miserable. Um, and yeah, the food was amazing. Lots of rice and beans. So a good bit of meat. I wouldn't say I recommend seafood in Cuba. I wasn't impressed with any of the seafood, but they have a dish of shredded beef that is very good. And I'm trying to remember what else stands out. My very favorite thing was something I had on my last day from this little local restaurant we found near our hotel, and it was this stack of like grilled pineapple topped with alternating layers of grilled tomato, eggplant, and onion, and it was just so amazing. If I was a rich person and had money to blow, I would pay $600 to fly to Cuba just to go get this dish because I really liked it. So good. Um, I was crazy impressed with the art that we saw. We visited. I don't know what ISA stands for, but ISA, Havana's University of the Arts, and their bachelor level artists were doing work that, in my opinion, is above, was beyond what you'd see from a master's level student over here. I mean, just incredibly talented. Yeah, I remember joking with a friend about feeling intellectually and creatively threatened by the Cubans. Like, I totally want the world to open up to them, but I couldn't help thinking that we need to up our game. I felt like I needed to go home right away and start studying everything because everything I saw was great. I mean, it sounds like their educational system is pretty good, or at least for those that get into the areas that they want to get into. And yeah, we just learned a lot about Cuba and the Cuban people. And I have to admit, Cuba is not a place that I ever thought I would visit. It was not even on my list of places to visit until I don't remember when I signed up for it. Maybe I signed up for it 6 months ago, something like that. And only after seeing the photos and videos of a fellow photographer, and I told him about this trip that I knew someone was putting together, and he encouraged me to go sooner rather than later, before it potentially becomes, just another tourist area. And I'm so glad I did because it was a wonderful experience that definitely opened my eyes. I mean, I feel like Cuba is one of these places that just sort of has been forgotten about. And, I know we had just reason to embargo and all of that stuff, but it's been 50 something years, like it would be nice if we could just, get over things now because the Cuban people are definitely not a reflection of their government. And if you think about it, our government really isn't a good reflection of us. I think governments are probably like the worst reflection of a country's people. And, I just feel so sad for all of the people in Cuba that, have had it rough because the economy has just been at such a standstill, and I feel like they're essentially born prisoners in their own country. Um, I'm sure most of them love their country very much, just like we love our country, but to not be allowed to travel, to, just basically be so restricted, I would be incredibly unhappy. And everyone I met was fantastic and friendly. We would meet locals and they'd ask us where we were from. and we would tell them that we were from the United States, and their faces would light up, and they'd hug us. They were so happy to see us. I imagine a lot of them, are pissed at us and, blame the United States for, ruining their economy. But I think at this point in time, some or a lot, hopefully, see the relationship between the U.S. and Cuba, and the lightening of travel restrictions and stuff, as I think they see it as hope. Hope that things are going to improve. And I hope things do improve, because I left a little piece of my heart in Cuba, along with lots of the people that I met, and I would love to go back one day. It's a beautiful place, a very sensual atmosphere, very great place to go with your significant other, and yeah, awesome music, amazing dancing, good food, great art, yeah, just everything. And I'm just going to show off a few things that I picked up. So I picked up a bunch of seed bead jewelry, which I absolutely love. Now, here's a little bracelet, and here's another bracelet. This one is my favorite because when I bought several of these necklaces, and when I did, at the end of my transaction, the salesman, or the guy working the stall, he came up to me and he put this on my wrist and he said, "Gift for you." And I thought that was so sweet. And that actually was not the first time that happened. So I guess that is sort of just a thing, which I really like, because, throwing in some little thing at the end definitely makes the transaction feel more pleasant, especially for the customer. I bought a variety of little earrings. These are made of shell, and somewhere, okay, I don't have them on me, I bought some that were made of bone. So most of the jewelry was either made of shell, bone, or seeds. And of course I bought some cigars. This is a Cohiba, which is their top brand, so I only bought one, maybe two of them. I bought this awesome palm frond hat, and I bought some art that I will show off later. Really not a ton of stuff. There's not a lot to buy in Cuba. We were taken to some markets and stuff, but it's pretty much little touristy things. I got some hand fans. I love hand fans. Isn't that so cute? I don't know what kind of wood it's made out of, but it's very lightweight. It's interesting. But there's not a lot to buy in terms of shopping. There's a lot of things that are hard to come by in Cuba, such as medicine, toiletries, just a lot of stuff. I'll probably do a separate video on that at some point, but this one is getting long enough, so I'm going to call it. So just give me, hopefully I'll have most of the blogs from my trip up within the next 2 weeks. It's going to take me a little bit because there's a lot of pictures to go through. I like to write about everything. But if there's anything that you are specifically interested in or would like me to sort of prioritize, let me know, and I'll blog about those things first, because I was going in chronological order, but now I sort of feel like I'm going to hop around. I'll go back and put it in chronological order later. If you do visit my blog, which is on carolandcarl.com, I backdate my post, so you'll need to scroll down the front page a little bit, because I do have some more recent posts from just quick little things I've done lately, because the Cuba post, the post will be for the day that the thing occurred, because it's essentially my journaling of the activities that we do. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I've had a lot of people tell me that they're enjoying the blog, or have asked about Cuba. That makes me feel really good. I started doing this just as a project for me and Coral, and a lot of people have told me that they enjoy it, and that makes me feel really good. And yeah, so thanks, and thanks for watching this ridiculously long video.